Star Wars Battlefront II has made one of the biggest comebacks in all of gaming history. Hey guys, it's the Twisted Jedi, and today we have a very special video where we are going to be covering the last 2 years of Star Wars Battlefront II because it is the 2-year anniversary of the game, which I'm really excited to talk about. It's been a long 2 years. It's gone from a really rough start at release and a notorious launch with the big loot box disaster. People still currently to this day think that the game is pay to win, which absolutely baffles me, and it's made one of the biggest comebacks in gaming history in my opinion. So we're going to go over everything in review from the last 2 years. It is going to be a little bit of a longer video, but hopefully this points out to those players that still think Battlefront 2 is a mess, that it is an absolutely different game at this point. Now, with that out of the way, before I jump into all the content, make sure you check out the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video that I posted yesterday, because I am giving away a deluxe edition of the game. So if you want your chance to win that, make sure you check out that video as well as all of the upcoming Fallen Order videos for your chance to win. Anyways, let's jump into what we all came here for, which is Battlefront 2. Now, rewind back to the pre-launch of the game. For me, we're going to have to go back about 2.5 years to EA Play, where they announced Battlefront 2 for the first time. And I remember it vividly. I was still living in America. I was in the gym that I was currently working at the reception desk with EA Play loaded up on the screen, and I was listening to it while I was sitting at reception. They dropped the trailer and announced that all eras would be covered, and I just absolutely lost my mind. It was super exciting. I was a big fan of the original Battlefront games, and I had played a ton of Battlefront 2015 because I just loved the game, even though most people didn't, but this had me super excited. The fact that they were covering all eras, we were getting Clone Wars, we were getting 3 times the amount of maps, heroes, and vehicles from 2015's game. It had so much excitement behind it and left me very hyped for the game. Fast forward a few months and let's go to the launch of the game. This was probably one of the worst possible releases in all of gaming history. We had the massive loot box controversy, which led to laws being changed overseas. Heroes were locked behind a 50,000 credit paywall like Luke, Vader, Leia, and Palpatine, as well as a couple of other main characters. The credit payout for each round that you played was minimal, so to get those 50,000 credits to unlock the likes of Luke and Darth Vader, you had to put in 40 plus hours to the game, which was absolutely absurd, and the community let DICE and EA know about it. This led to a massive backlash for the game and lost a lot of players within the first week or two who didn't think it was worth grinding out that much just for some of our favorite characters that probably should have been free from the start. This backlash led to a complete progression overhaul, which we will go back into in just a little while, but EA was forced to change their ways, and the DICE devs managed to slash the payout cost for the heroes, taking them down to a reasonable price, although they still should have been free in my opinion. Skip ahead a month from release and we are in December, which hosted the Last Jedi DLC season. This was a decent season and a good addition to the game, where we got Finn and Captain Phasma, we got Crate for Galactic Assault, we also got the Starfighter map Dakar and Tally's A-Wing, as well as a Resurrection DLC for the campaign. Now, when they did release, Phasma was an absolute pea shooter. She did nothing. Her blaster was very weak and not what we know it to be today, as well as her staff strikes were extremely hard to land. Anyone that knows how hard it was to get Phasma's staff strikes challenge back when the game was in that state knows the struggle of what it was, and it is definitely not where it's at today. On top of this, Finn's Deadeye was probably one of the most powerful abilities in the game and could absolutely melt any hero within a couple of seconds if you were landing shots. So that's something that has also changed. They've balanced that now, but when it did release, Finn was extremely powerful with that Deadeye ability. Overall, The Last Jedi season was a good addition to the intro of the game. A month into release and they added more content, but it still ignored the main problems that they were dealing with, which was of course the progression system. Following The Last Jedi season, we enter what I like to call the dark times. This was basically a 3-month content drought, and the only content that we got in February was Jetpack Cargo and Iden's TIE Fighter from the campaign, and there was a few little bits and pieces in there, but again, nothing massive and nothing that was changing the main problems to the game. During this time, on top of the drought of content, there was also minimal communication from DICE or any of the developers on what was being worked on, what was being changed, and what we could expect in the future. So there was a lot of players leaving the game at this time because we were just very uncertain of what it was that was being worked on. Obviously, we soon found out behind the scenes that a brand new progression system overhaul was in the works currently at DICE, and that is something that we found out in the following month, which was in March. The new progression system, which I was lucky enough to fly out to Sweden and test thanks to the Game Changers program, was an absolute delight. It was one of the best things that they did for this game. They took away all of the loot boxes, they added playing your character to actually level them up, and skill points were added as well to increase your star card levels or unlock those star cards that you didn't have already. This overhaul led to a huge positive reaction from the community and would have brought back a fair few players as well. Moving forward, DICE looked to capitalize on this momentum and continue to give the crowd what they wanted. They added 3 appearances during March and April, which were of course the Hoth appearances for the big 3, Luke, Han, and Leia. They added Bespin for HVV, Ewok Hunt during April, which I also got to test while I was out there, and it started to feel like Battlefront 2 was making an even bigger comeback. We also got the addition of Ewok Hunt like I mentioned, and although it was fun, it quickly became repetitive, which led to a little bit of negativity in the community when the fans wanted Clone Wars content. A lot of people were saying, why are they working on something like Ewok Hunt when they know how much we want the Clone Wars? However, to counter this, they did add 40 new trooper skins, which added a lot of diversity and customization, and 8 brand new hero skins as well. So a lot of customization options came in that month, which ultimately led us into the Han Solo season in May. Now, for those of you that remember, the Solo season was split up into 2 parts. The first hosting the Hero Showdown game mode, Jabba's Palace as a new map for heroes vs villains, and some more hero skins. And this was the smaller part of the content drop. In June, we got part 2, which hosted Kessel as a brand new map, the solo hero skins for Han and Lando, as well as the brand new Falcon, which again got a lot of backlash because who wanted another Millennium Falcon? Who asked for that? Not really anyone that I'm aware of wanted that in the game, but they also added a fan favorite from 2015, which was the Extraction game mode that got a lot of positive reviews. However, it was ignored from that point onwards. We got one other map added to it, but unfortunately it just didn't do very well, and it was a struggle to compete with the bigger game modes. In saying this though, we skip ahead to EA Play 2018, where there was the massive Clone Wars announcement, and how could we forget Dennis up on stage announcing all of these heroes and Geonosis coming to Battlefront 2, and of course we can't forget the awkward silence when Count Dooku was announced. It was probably one of the funniest things that has happened up on stage.
Joining them is the Dark Lord and leader of the Separatist Alliance,
Count Dooku.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
However, like I mentioned, a lot of cool things were announced at EA Play, and it had an overall positive spark in the community, and it had a lot of people excited, even with players returning to the game just in preparation for this update. The only problem with this is after the announcement, we did have to wait about 4 months of this content, which led to a second dark period of no content and minimal communication. We did get bits and pieces here and there, which I would have mentioned if I had the time and wanted this video to go for 35 minutes, but I don't, so I'm not going to go over everything in that 4 months. But in saying that, we skip ahead to the end of 2018. Within the last 2 to 3 months of 2018, we got General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Geonosis as a playable map, the ATTE, Stap Speeder, and Bark Speeders as new vehicles, more hero skins, and a ton of other content. So this was a huge drop at the end of 2018 within a couple of months of each other. The fans of Battlefront 2 were absolutely loving the Clone Wars content that they had been so patiently waiting for, and this only continued in early 2019. We also got the release of Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku into the game, and for me the Count Dooku drop was probably one of the most special moments in my YouTube career. For those of you guys that don't remember or weren't actually there, we had an absolute massive stream when Count Dooku dropped, with 2,500 people in the live stream at one time, and over 60 to 70,000 people watching the stream over the course of the couple of hours that I played. It was a massive boost for my channel, and I gained a ton of new subscribers, so anyone that was there for that, I appreciate you, and anyone that had joined before or after that, thank you guys as well for the constant support. Touching further on those updates though, Anakin was released into the game as well, and he was stupidly powerful from the moment he launched. People obviously saw this, took advantage, and a lot of people also complained about it, which led to Anakin being hit with the nerf stick multiple times, and even to this day, he still isn't quite balanced. Yes, he is much weaker than he was at launch, but there are a few issues that I think still need to be tweaked in order to balance him out with the rest of the heroes. On top of those 2 heroes though, we got Capital Supremacy, which is the brand new game mode that everyone loves because it is focused mainly on capturing command posts and taking down capital ships. Large amounts of players are now coming back due to these releases and the absolute influx of Clone Wars content, and big streamers like even Shroud have been back to visit Battlefront 2 and have given positive thoughts on the game. Following this, they even launched a second Geonosis map in Pipeline Junction West for capital supremacy. The ARC Trooper and BX Commando droids, which are both a lot of fun to play, were added into the game, and Geonosis was followed by all the other Clone Wars maps for capital supremacy. So the first few months of 2019 were huge for Battlefront 2 with an influx of Clone Wars content, and a lot of people were very excited for the future. However, following this, we did have a few months of drought again, which does tend to be a little bit of a trend with this game, but June brought forward the Droidicas, the TX-130 tank, Separatist B1 battle droid skins, a health on kill rework where you no longer needed a health on kill star card and it became a passive ability for all heroes except for Bosk. We also got the A New Hope skins for the big three, again Luke, Han and Leia. We also got the General Skywalker skin for Anakin, the Clone Commando as a brand new reinforcement, Felucia for capital supremacy, alongside two brand new game modes in instant action and co-op, which have also gotten a lot of good feedback and are going to improve the longevity of the game in the future. Now finally, skip ahead to present day. It is a completely different game from what it was at launch. The loot box system is gone, the progression system has been overhauled, we have a ton of Clone Wars heroes and maps, and we are headed into the end of the second year of this game, and it does not look like it is slowing down. We have two big updates in December with Rise of Skywalker content, which we know we are going to be getting a new map and multiple reinforcements, plus whatever else DICE hasn't really told us about yet, and on top of that we have new reinforcement skins coming at some point as well, which you can all look forward to. So to summarize guys, Battlefront 2 is far from dead and will be supported in 2020, which has now been confirmed, and I urge past players to revisit the game if you aren't currently playing it. It is completely different from months ago or even years ago. It has been totally overhauled and most of you probably wouldn't even recognize the way that it plays now. I also urge other players to buy a copy of Star Wars if you haven't done so already, because it is super cheap right now, and for what you get, it is 100% worth the purchase. It's currently sitting at 12 Australian dollars on the PlayStation Store, which is a minuscule $8 US. So for those of you that are thinking about buying it, I would 100% recommend it. The amount of content you get for just $8 US is unbelievable. And yes, there are still a few issues that are in the game with bugs and things, but hopefully after December, a majority of those get worked out, along with the Rise of Skywalker content that we will be getting. For me personally, I think there is no reason not to revisit Battlefront 2, as it will go down as one of the best comebacks in gaming history. If you guys disagree, let me know down in the comments why you disagree. I would love to get a conversation going. If you guys agree with my thoughts, also let me know down in the comments, and let me know what your favorite thing added to Battlefront 2 was. Anyways guys, this has been the 2-year celebration of Star Wars Battlefront 2. As frustrated as I get sometimes, I do love it, and it has actually changed my life and made a big impact on me, so I am forever grateful of this game's release. Anyways guys, I am going to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash a big thumbs up if you did, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you again for watching, and may the Force be with you always.
This